Money. That was the first word Amanda thought about every single morning. Not health, not family, not love, just money. At 30 years old, Amanda had carefully built her life around one thing: securing wealth through charm, beauty, and calculated relationships. From the outside, people thought she had it all. She always appeared in glamorous outfits, wore high heels that clicked like power, and her makeup was flawless enough to rival a movie star's. To many men, she looked like a dream. But those who had known her longer whispered something else. Amanda was a professional gold digger. She never worked a steady job. She never built a career. Instead, she floated from one rich man to another. If they spoiled her, she stayed. If the money slowed down, she vanished. For Amanda, relationships were investments, and love was just a word people used to sugarcoat financial security. But now, as she approached her 30s, something had shifted. The younger girls in their 20s were coming up fast. Fresh faces, eager smiles, endless competition. Amanda felt time ticking against her. I need to land someone big, someone permanent, she told herself in the mirror as she applied another coat of lipstick. No more dating small-time doctors or lawyers. I need a millionaire, no, a billionaire. So when she heard about Daniel Reed, her heart nearly stopped. He wasn't just wealthy, he was legendary. The 35-year-old tech mogul had built an empire from scratch, creating apps and software that touched millions of lives. His net worth was whispered in boardrooms, written about in magazines, and discussed at dinner parties. But what made him even more desirable was his mystery. Unlike other billionaires who flaunted their wealth, Daniel kept a low profile. He rarely dated publicly, and when he did, the women seemed to vanish from the spotlight quickly. When Amanda learned that Daniel would be attending a high-profile charity gala in the city, she decided it was fate. This is it, she whispered as she slipped into a shimmering red dress that hugged her curves. The night I finally secure my millionaire husband. But Amanda didn't know something important. Daniel Reed wasn't naive. For years, he had been approached by women who saw him as a walking bank account. They smiled too wide, laughed too hard, and asked too many questions about his money. And Daniel, with his sharp mind and playful streak, had grown tired of it. When he overheard whispers about Amanda's gold digger reputation, a sly grin crept across his face. So she's coming tonight? Perfect, he murmured. Unlike other men who either fell for the act or avoided her completely, Daniel decided to do something different. He didn't want to just ignore Amanda. He wanted to teach her a lesson. And so, he began to plan a little game. A prank, yes, but one that would reveal the truth about her intentions. He would give her just enough to think she had won, before pulling the rug out from under her. What Amanda didn't know was that her hunt for money was about to backfire in a way she could never imagine. The charity gala glittered like a dream. Golden chandeliers spilled light across the ballroom, bouncing off crystal glasses and sequin gowns. Laughter, violin music, and the gentle clinking of forks created a symphony of wealth and elegance. Amanda walked in like she owned the room, every step deliberate, every glance rehearsed. Heads turned, not because people didn't know her reputation, but because she knew how to command attention. She scanned the room, her eyes sharp, hungry. Somewhere among these polished faces was Daniel Reed, the man she had spent weeks preparing for. She imagined the moment, walking up to him, dazzling him with her beauty, and soon after, becoming the center of his life. But Amanda didn't know that Daniel was already watching her, not from the spotlight, but from the shadows. He had arrived quietly, blending in among his guests. He studied her with calm curiosity. She's just as the rumors say, he thought, noticing how her gaze lingered longest on the wealthiest-looking men, how her smile widened when someone flashed a Rolex or mentioned their business. Instead of approaching her as himself, the billionaire tech mogul, Daniel decided to begin his little prank. Slipping away, he returned a few minutes later dressed not in his tailored tuxedo, but in a waiter's black uniform, holding a silver tray of champagne glasses. He walked up to Amanda smoothly. "Would you like a drink, miss?" he asked politely, his voice calm but steady. Amanda didn't even look at him properly. "No, thank you," she said, her eyes still scanning the crowd for someone important. In her mind, he was just a server, invisible, unworthy of her time. Daniel almost chuckled. Interesting, he thought. So this is how she treats people when she thinks they have nothing. Later in the evening, after slipping back into his tuxedo, Daniel finally approached Amanda as himself. But he didn't reveal his true identity just yet. Instead, he introduced himself casually, portraying himself as a small-time entrepreneur still building his company. "Hi, I'm Daniel," he said with a warm smile. "You looked a little bored over here, so I thought I'd come say hello." Amanda glanced at him, her disappointment subtle but clear. No Rolex, no diamond cufflinks, no sign of extreme wealth. Just a simple tuxedo and an approachable demeanor. He didn't match her dream image of a billionaire. Still, she kept the conversation going, hoping maybe he was hiding something. "Oh, hi," she replied, forcing a polite smile. "So, what do you do?" Daniel chuckled lightly. "I run a small tech company. Still growing, but I'm proud of it." He spoke modestly, intentionally downplaying himself. Amanda's interest dropped almost instantly. "Oh, that's nice." Her tone was flat, her eyes already drifting toward a man nearby who wore a gleaming gold watch. But Daniel didn't back away. Instead, he leaned into the conversation with charm and wit, making her laugh despite herself. Slowly, she warmed up, not because she cared about him, but because she figured he might have potential. For Daniel, this was exactly what he wanted. He had planted the first seed of his test. Now, it was time to see just how deep Amanda's gold-digging instincts ran. A few days after the gala, Amanda's phone lit up with a message. "Daniel, would you like to go out for dinner tomorrow? Just the two of us." Amanda smirked, tossing her hair back as she read it. "Finally," she whispered. In her mind, this was step 2 of her plan. If she played her cards right, she would secure his attention and eventually his wealth. She quickly replied with an enthusiastic yes. The next evening, Amanda slipped into a silky designer dress, expecting a black car, maybe even a limousine, to pull up outside her apartment. She imagined being driven to one of the city's 5-star restaurants, where waiters in tuxedos would serve champagne and caviar. But when Daniel arrived, he was behind the wheel of a simple sedan. Not flashy, not new, just practical. Amanda's smile faltered, but she forced herself to stay composed. Maybe he doesn't like showing off. That's fine, as long as he pays big when it matters, she thought. Her confidence shattered further when they pulled up in front of a small, cozy diner on a quiet street. The glowing sign buzzed faintly, and through the windows, she could see checkered tablecloths and people in jeans enjoying burgers and milkshakes. Amanda blinked. "This is where you brought me?" she asked, her tone sharp despite her attempt to disguise it. Daniel smiled warmly. "It's my favorite place. Best burgers in the whole city. Trust me, you'll love it." Amanda hesitated. Her perfectly manicured fingers clenched her purse strap. "Sure, sounds fun," she lied, though every part of her screamed in protest. Inside, the diner smelled of grilled onions, sizzling beef, and warm bread. A waitress in a paper hat greeted them cheerfully. "Table for 2. "Yes, please," Daniel said. He seemed perfectly at ease, but Amanda's discomfort was written across her face. She scanned the menu, horrified. No lobster, no champagne, not even sushi. Just burgers, fries, and milkshakes. "So what'll it be?" Daniel asked, already grinning at the menu like a kid in a candy shop. Amanda pushed hers aside. "I don't really eat burgers." Daniel raised an eyebrow, but said nothing. He ordered a double cheeseburger, fries, and a chocolate milkshake. Amanda, unwilling to starve, ordered a small salad, the only thing that felt remotely acceptable to her. As Daniel dove into his food with genuine enjoyment, Amanda picked at her salad, rolling her eyes whenever he wasn't looking. But Daniel noticed everything. Finally, the check arrived. Amanda leaned back, arms crossed, making no move toward it. "You got this, right?" she said casually, as if it was the most obvious thing in the world. "Of course," Daniel replied smoothly. But instead of pulling out a sleek platinum card, he handed the waitress a nearly worn debit card. Amanda's eyes widened. It looked ordinary, the kind of card a man living paycheck to paycheck might have. Her thoughts raced. Is he even rich at all? Did I waste my time? But Daniel stayed calm, smiling as the waitress swiped the card. Amanda forced a polite laugh, masking her disappointment. But in her mind, she was already plotting her exit. What she didn't know was that this was exactly what Daniel wanted, a test. And she had just failed it. A week passed after the awkward diner date. Amanda had almost written Daniel off completely. She told herself he was just another small dreamer, not worth her time. But just as she was about to ghost him, her phone buzzed again. "Daniel, Come by my office tomorrow. I'd like you to see what I've been working on. Amanda frowned. Office. The word sparked curiosity. Maybe she had judged too quickly. Maybe his small tech company was bigger than she thought. After all, appearances could be deceiving. She agreed immediately, already planning what to wear. The next day, she arrived in a tight-fitting designer dress and towering heels. As the taxi pulled up to the address Daniel had sent, her jaw nearly dropped. Instead of a modest building, a massive glass skyscraper rose into the clouds, sleek and modern. At the very top, engraved in silver letters, were two words that made her heart skip a beat. Reed Technologies. Amanda's eyes widened. Wait, Reed? As in Daniel Reed? The billionaire. Her pulse quickened as the pieces clicked together. The gala, his calm demeanor, his little small company story. He had played her. Flustered but excited, she rushed inside. The marble lobby gleamed, with employees bustling about in sharp suits. Security escorted her to the top floor, where Daniel's office overlooked the entire city. When she stepped in, Daniel sat casually behind a massive mahogany desk, no longer modest, no longer hiding. He wore a tailored suit this time, confidence radiating from him. Amanda's jaw dropped. You're Daniel Reed? She stammered. Daniel smiled faintly. The same. Surprised? Her whole demeanor changed in an instant. She rushed toward him, her voice suddenly honey-sweet. Oh, Daniel. I knew there was something special about you. I didn't care about money. I just wanted to get to know the real you. Daniel leaned back in his chair, studying her. The real me? That's funny. Because when I took you to the diner, you treated me like I was beneath you. When I didn't flash wealth, you were bored, dismissive. And when I acted like a waiter, you couldn't even look me in the eye. Amanda froze. That's not true. You're twisting things. Daniel's eyes hardened. No, Amanda. This was all a test. A prank, if you want to call it that. I wanted to see if you cared about the man or the money. And now I have my answer. Her face went pale. Daniel, please, you don't understand. But Daniel cut her off sharply. I understand perfectly. You saw me as a prize, a bank account, not a person. And I don't play that game. Amanda's voice cracked. But Daniel, I can change. He stood, his tone calm but final. No, you shouldn't change for me. You should change for yourself. Because this lifestyle you're chasing, it won't last. Looks fade. Lies catch up. But character is forever. The words hit Amanda harder than any rejection she'd ever faced. And for the first time in years, she didn't have a clever comeback. Amanda stood frozen in Daniel's office, her reflection glaring back at her from the glass walls. The words he had spoken lingered in the air like a heavy cloud. Beauty fades. Character is forever. For years, Amanda had relied on her looks, her charm, her ability to play the part of a perfect partner, as long as the man had money. But now, standing in front of an actual billionaire, she realized that everything she had built her identity on was paper thin. Daniel, please, she whispered, her voice breaking. I thought. But the sentence trailed off. What could she say? That she thought money was enough? That love didn't matter as long as the bills were paid? That she had wasted her best years chasing after wallets instead of building her own life? Daniel didn't yell. He didn't gloat. He simply stood, adjusting his suit jacket. Amanda, he said firmly, I don't hate you. I don't even blame you. The world you live in teaches people to chase shortcuts. But if you want something real, respect, security, happiness, you have to create it yourself, not take it from someone else. Her cheeks burned red. For the first time in years, Amanda felt small. Not because she was being rejected, but because she was being seen. Daniel saw right through her, past the lipstick, past the glamorous dress, past the act. And she hated that he was right. Security stepped into the office, waiting for Daniel's signal. Amanda panicked, rushing forward. Please, just give me one more chance. I can prove I'm different. Daniel shook his head slowly. It's not about proving anything to me. It's about proving it to yourself. You don't need a millionaire, Amanda. You need a mirror. The words stung worse than any door slammed in her face. With her shoulders trembling, Amanda allowed herself to be escorted out. The marble lobby that had dazzled her minutes ago now felt cold and empty. As she stepped out onto the busy city street, the weight of reality pressed down harder than her heels against the pavement. That night, Amanda sat in front of her mirror at home. For once, she didn't reach for her makeup. She didn't slip into a glittering dress. She just stared at the woman staring back, 30 years old, exhausted, chasing a dream that had turned into a nightmare. Tears welled in her eyes. "Who am I without the act?" she whispered. It was a question she had avoided for years, but now it refused to leave. Meanwhile, Daniel returned to his life unfazed. For him, it wasn't about humiliating Amanda. It was about reminding himself that wealth couldn't buy authenticity. He had trusted his instincts, and once again, they were right. In the weeks that followed, whispers about the gold digger who got pranked by a billionaire spread through social circles like wildfire. Some laughed, some judged, but Amanda carried the lesson heavier than anyone else. Because deep down, she now knew the truth. Money might open doors, but character is what keeps them open. And for the first time in her life, Amanda wasn't chasing someone else's fortune. She was staring at the broken pieces of her own future, wondering if she could build something real from the ground up.